Hey folks, time once again to do a video where I do a CSS Battle daily target from the past. Daily targets, these are from March 25th, 26th, and 27th of 2024. Let's get right to it. So what's this shape? I feel like this is definitely one of those chances where it's, it's a two elements, right? One of them flipped upside down using scale. Right. And I think for simplicity, let's go margin 0 on the body. We do a background of that darker color, and that's our start. If we give it a width and a height, we get a certain shape, right? I don't think we need display flex. And actually, does that mean we don't need the margins here? We can just use the margins on the element itself. So we do a margin, and we'll do it as a var, just because we know we're going to need a margins for the second one as well. So margin --m or 0, 0, and semicolon. That's our start. And let's go ahead and make the shape. Let's do let's do background linear gradient, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's the blue, and then it's the light blue, and then we'll just do the light blue again, or the dark blue. So that's how you get that. If we do give it a height 2, and then if we adjust these margins, we can put that in place, right? There's 100. 100 seems to be correct, and then if I do 60, 70, 72, that's the start of it. So we need a border radius. I think for simplicity, we could also do a radial gradient inside. But how little can we get away with? How about 50 pixels? And then we make it taller to, so are we in the right place? Yes, we are. So 210, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. Now let's add some color stops. 20%, 0. How about 40%, 0? And then 60%, 0. Okay. And so if we add another one, then the second one, which we can address with the sibling selector, it's got adjacency. When we set the margin, we could do --m, do a -200, 0, and there it is. You can kind of see it. There are really 4 margin numbers around any box, and so in this case, we want this leftmost, this start margin to be something like that. We keep going 4 or 5, 400, and that's kind of the way we do it. Sure, why not? 230, 20, 210, 212. All right, let's see if that's a match. So it would be more typical to say 50 pixels, 0, 0, right? And that way we're using the same one, but we're not scaling it. So if I make it a little taller than I need to, and I don't have to worry about adding, overflow scroll. Like there's a scroll bar. I've never tried that before. So I'm forcing a scroll bar, but the CSS Battle servers don't apply a scroll bar, even if one would be required, right? If I add a bunch of bottom border, that would force a scroll bar. But for whatever reason, the decision was made to not bother with scroll bars, because that would be, it's just one more thing to manage, but something to keep in mind, right? Scroll bars always have a consideration, no matter your device, right? I mean, on a phone, you might not actually see a scroll bar until you started scrolling. And there are operating systems where it's always present, and then there's operating systems where they sort of appear as needed, and then variations in between. Okay, so let's submit and see whether we have it 100% match. And we do. So that's great. We'll minify and unit replace, and that's all it. That's a fun one. Super simple. Single stripe, and it happens to be when you've got that, and that's a better score than I've gotten in the past. So I always like that. All right, next. Certainly a fun shape, this guy. The question is, what's the way to do this? I think that when I've done this in the past, I have used, what have I used? I think I did, clip pass, those kinds of things. The question is that what I want to do right now? Because I can do what? I think that's probably the right way, because you can do a linear gradient, right? So let's just go out to in, linear gradient. Hey, there it is, 45 degrees. And let's do this light pink and then transparent. And then you can get that hard edge, right? And that seems to be, kind of what we do. 3, 4, 35. What's the number there? 35, 36, 37. And then I just copy and paste, make that 45 degrees negative, and that's a big start to that, right? Like that's a fair start. I'm kind of there anyway, so let's just do that. That's fine too. How about another linear gradient? Linear gradient is going to go left to right, so that's a 90 coming in at a 90-degree angle. And then transparent, that's the hash, and then 4 zeros, 0, 60%, and then the pink again. Too narrow, huh? How about 30, 35, 31, 32, 33? How about 66? All right, so I'm going to add a contrasting color in the background here. And we can see exactly how wrong we are. Yeah, not great, right? Like 32%, 33, 34, 31. How about 100 pixels? 100, 130? Yeah, sure. And then 270 or 170. Oh, 270. 270 is correct. All right, we got these guys here, not quite right. 37, 3.1. All right. So what next? How about the radial gradient is probably the next thing we need. And if we do at 50%, 100%, we can get an actual circle. And we do need the circle. The inner color is transparent. Let's say 100 pixels. And then color. And don't forget your comma between each one. So right now, and then we need to move it vertically. So 0 and then minus 200 pixels. That's what we're looking at. Minus 100. And that circle's radius is too much. How about 50? How about 60, 70? I don't know if you can see that quite well enough. And again, we're going to put a color in the background. All right, so that position, that's the Y position of the background position, 7. And that's that. So we don't, okay, so there's our background color. And we want it to repeat only on the x-axis. That gives us that emptiness that we need. So, it's a lot of gradients, right, to get this shape. There's definitely easier ways to go. However, we're down the road. We're down the road on this. So let's keep at it. One thing we do is there a way to do this cleanly? So I was going to move these first linear gradients below her, but I think, yeah, I don't like the solution, but I'm going to complete it for you. How about a linear gradient from left to right? So that's going to be this dark color and 90 degrees. And the dark color. And then the light color, or slightly lighter color, and then the dark color again. And again, I'm going to use position. And I'm going to say 100% wide, and then 50% tall. And then repeat only on the x-axis, and then that'll give us that. See, so we're limiting the scope of that. So let's make it 40% tall. That's not quite right either. We just want to get the only cover the part that's different. About 120 pixels, 130. There it is. Okay, so 40%, 0. 60%, just to have some starting numbers. How about 40, 41, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I put my color stops not in the right spots. That's where I wanted them. 40, 45, there's 45, and then that's probably 55, if it's even. Okay. And then finally, we need to do those other ones, and we can copy and paste these just in terms of speed. We use these colors and then increase those numbers, and then on the final one we would put in the darker color. Is that right? Oh, we got a dangling comma. There it is. So if we increase these to 45%, there it is, right? And then we want the medium pink to be the other side. So this would be, what, 42%? Yeah, let's play with those numbers. 40? 40, might be 40. And that's how we do it. So that's how many is that? That's a lot. It's a lot of gradients, right? It's a lot of gradients. Is it a match? Is it 100% match? That's the thing that I find myself wondering. Let's find out. It is. So we can just go with that. Do we want to? Let's minify and replace and decide whether we want to go another way. All right, let's go with the shape way. So we're going to set margins on the item, and then for my purposes, I think I just want to make the circle in the middle part, and I think I can do it with a single gradient and then border radius and then clip path. So those are the pieces. So I'll try to call my shots here. So there's the background, and our background is a conic gradient, which is going to be this darker pink, 25%, 90 degrees to that. It's going to be this medium pink all along the bottom, 0 to 75%. And then the final color is this darker color again. Darker color, yeah, 0. And then if we give it a width, actually just 0, and then 40 pixels. There, you're kind of seeing the start of that. So let's set our margins so that we are actually where we want to be. 60, yeah, 100, 110, 20, 122. And let's make it taller. 2, no, too tall. 160. Okay. All right, so we need border radius. We need a border radius, and we need, if the width is what, 40 pixels. Yeah. Let's get that. Let's get it right, and let's use a Q value. 50 Q. 60, 70, 71, 2, 3, 4, 74 Q. Fine. All right. So the trick of the so let's get the conic gradient right, because that's important. One of the things I want to play with is, see, I need to do 74 Q, 74, and then 0, 0. But I'm going to be clipping this anyway. So maybe what I want to do actually is leave the border radius 74Q and then just make it tall enough so that when I clip it, I don't care about the border radius. So how tall do I need to make it? 200. That's not bad. 17. 16. That might do it. And again, the bottom stripe here, this guy, I'm not worried about that yet. I'm not worried about that because I'm going to use another element to do that. All right, so let's get to it. Well, come to think of it, this has to be the second one, because if I'm putting the second one on the bottom, then pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. All right, so we get the border radius. Now let's do clip path. Polygon. And all the corners. 0, 0, 100%, 0. 100%, what, 80 pixels? 80, 90, 100 pixels. 110. That could be right. And then 50%, 100%. That might be right. And then 0, 110 pixels. Actually, those numbers are wrong. Is it 100? Is it 90? I think it might be 90. All right, 90. So what do we got? We got that. And obviously we've got to fix this gradient. So we need to, so we're going to do the no repeat trick so we can align this perfectly before we bother with the rest of it. So the width needs to be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 90. Okay. Set it at 40 pixels, 40 pixels. I know those are the wrong numbers. How about 50 pixels over? And then 50, 60, 70 pixels down. And then when I let it repeat, it should align pretty well. Okay, and that's a single gradient, just with some border radius and clip paths. So I need another one, right? And so let's make this a variable, var --g for gradient, or that whole thing. And strictly speaking, we need we got so here's that value. But we're going to default --g is going to be that. So there it is. But we're actually going to default to the darker color. So the first one is that. And then by setting the margins, and I guess it'll be minus 200, 122 again, something like that. So that means we need to increase this number, 7, 8. Admittedly, it's kind of messy right now. Okay, so there's the first one is this pink guy. So let's delete that. Let's make sure we got that in the right place. So just got to think through. Yeah, there it is. So if now I do the diff, and I do 10. Oh, I need to add back, don't I? Let's check it out. 2, 10, 2, 0, 20, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. There it is. So again, we're going to use the var m or those margins. So margin can be replaced with --m. And that's another solution. So let's submit that and see if we get 100% match. I think we do. I think we did. Maybe. All right. So that's a 100% match. So let's unit replace and minify, and we've completed that one. Kind of a fun one in a lot of ways. Lots of ins and outs. Clearly, you could do gradient, 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 and get it all done. But if we're going to use 2 elements and use that shape, and that's a better score than I've gotten in the past, so I'm content with that. Again, I don't always tune for complete lowest possible code golf score when I do these videos. I'm just trying to talk through the principles of some of these things and get it done. I mean, make no mistake, I do like to get them done. But I don't have any shame about going. If I've managed to get 100% in the past and I can't get it during a video, then I will go backwards. All right, what's this guy? This is a fun one in a lot of ways. I think I've done this with a background on the body in the past with the dots separate, but I think that the actual, it's slightly better to create 3 elements and only 3 elements and only have orange on the body. That's my goal here. Let's see if I can do it, because I think we need to use transforms really to rotate these guys into position, the second ones. But let's make one element that's that bar, so white. And right now we've got a height of 120, let's say. Let's set margins. Probably asking for trouble. 3, 4, 100, 130, 135. Okay, so how widthy do we need? 5, 52. And then the height of this is 30. All right. So I think what we want is a radial gradient, really. Radial gradient. So the first one is circle of white, 15 pixels, and then transparent. So there's that. And then with by setting the position, we can get it to repeat. So we need the distance between these to be right on. And I think that we're sort of free to do it, what, at like 50% wide? What does that get us? No. How about 33%? 33.3. Do these align perfectly? No. So let's play with the numbers. This is one of those times where I'm not totally sold. Three, 4, 5. So here's what 3% looks like. That's not what we want. How about 15? 25. And then what if we move the x-axis minus 20 pixels? All right. what if we do? So what I'd like to do is get the error to be such that each one of these is about the same error distance away. 115. So what I want is, I'm trying to avoid doing an at, but maybe I can't. Maybe I don't want to today because I'm too lazy. Maybe. Okay. Everything's got to be adjusted. Minus 10, 20, 30, 40, 32, 35, 35. That's what I want. 6 and 7. And it's just not quite right? If I was willing to get some graph paper out, I would do this. Okay, so let's do it the lazy way. Let's do it. Circle at 15 pixels, 15 pixels. And then have to be at 0, and then have the width. And then when we increase the size of the width, 2, 20, 30, 40, 250. High tech. So once we've got that width, if we do 250 and then do an x value of minus 20 pixels, do we get it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There it is. 100. 110. There, I've tricked myself into doing it. So you create the at, you do the at first, and then you can use the value from the size and then use background position to get it in position. All right, I'll take that. All right, so what have we got in the background here? If I do red, you see what's in the background. So what I want to do is a radial gradient, again, that is got an interior that's a variable. The var of an int I color, or I'm going to do a ridiculous color just so I can see what I'm doing, of some value. Let's do 20 pixels. And then white. And then I want it to be centered, so 50%, so white, okay, white. Then I need to set a width of it. 0. I want it to be 50% over, and then 50% in width, and then I only want it to repeat on the y-axis. That's how we do that, maybe. How about 45? How about 50? How about 54, 55%? 54? Eh. And I guess we need the word circle. And we need a color stop. And what we'd like is for that circle to be, and I guess I don't really like that, 54%. It's just not working out. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Yeah. Okay, so 3, 4, 3, 35. Oh, 35. Where are we at? No, this is not right. Not right. 35 pixels. I think that might be right. So, how do we make this work? The variable is, it's the default of white, and then second and third one, we're going to rotate and then have a variable of red, or yeah, a variable transparent. Yeah, that's correct. So when we rotate it, we don't interfere. Oh, and I guess that we also need these circles to be variabilized as well. So var of I or that. And so P plus P, I'll make another one, which you can't yet see. And I do the margin. Let's put the margin, put it in place, -100. There it is. And then I do the I, call it red, and you can see what I'm getting at there. This is where the margins are a problem, because I need to do the same kind of margins. So let's do -1, so there it is. -1, 35, 40, 50, 60. And then if I rotate it 30 degrees, or is it 60? That's close. All right, so is it 40 in here? Yeah. All right, so now if I set transparent as the I value, we just made it. See how that works? It's all right. It's all right, and we need another one, so let's use attributes instead. So we'll do BB, and then PC. And if we, so here's B, and then here's C. So I'm going to do rotate, let's see, so let's do margin again. And we'll do the same values, but we need to get it. We need to make it visible again. So that value is too much because it's affected by the parent. So we need 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 35. Okay, and now we're going to rotate -60 degrees, right? And that's sort of the implication. There's another one. And then if I set the I there, now I've got it. So using margins and rotate, we flop these into place. Now there's tuning that we can be doing to assure that this works. And one of the, so here's the black, you can see what those are. And then if I add a F here, you can see that's this is the shape. So we're using the same shape 3 times, but with different variables, which is a nice way to do it. I certainly like it. All right, so let's tune. We set rotate of a var of D for degrees or 0. So now we can do D for degrees and D for degrees. And then margins, we do a var --m, like that, and we'll do --m here. And that's a fine solution. Rather satisfying, actually. Rotating elements can be very, very tricky. Starting with one that's flat is obviously the best way to go there. I guess in theory, these all have a second variable of 52, so I can do margin that number, then 52. Everything goes kuwampus, and then I can remove 52 from the other variables. That's a nice tuning. We can also do, this is a calc of 60 degrees times 0, and then that variable, so we'll call it an f for factor, and instead of a d, we'll do an f of 1, and then an f of -1. Use that algebra that we all learned, or ideally we all learned. And then we can do a slightly simplified, so selector for p dash p, we'll set the I there, and then we can remove one of these. Not too bad. Not too bad as far as it goes. Oh, even better, C, so we're defaulting to 135. That means we don't need this. That's another tuning. So remove all the code you can. Minify, unit replace, submit. Actually, there's a few more little spaces to remove. And that's a better score than I've gotten in the past, and I'm pleased with that. Submit, resubmit, submit. The CSS Battle servers are evaluating the response and seeing what kind of score I get, and that's a solution. So several different kind of wrinkles there of how to use things like calc, how to use the algebra that hopefully we know a little bit of to do some of these solutions. A little math never hurt anybody. And this is that's a fun set from March of 2024, the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Make something with HTML and CSS today. They are awesome. Everybody's carrying around a browser, man. Make something for their browsers. Make a web page. Share your collection of stuff. Share your thoughts. It's better than an app. Don't watch an app. I know you're looking at an app right now. You're looking at YouTube, but do something else. All right. Have a good day. Bye.